had a pretty productive career at Old Dominion, and then transferred in and missed part of the season last year, but had a really good year this year in 22, even though there was some the coaching change and all that in the midseason. And then Marte was a good it was a good visit. Smaller school guy, really productive guy. Did a lot of different things in their defensive scheme, and so really good to have both players. I thought that Matt and his staff really did a great job again of managing all the draft information that they've processed over the last year. Matt, Elliott, Cam, and their respective staffs. Good to have Pat back with us as well. So I thought that we were really well prepared and had a lot of information. We needed on a lot of players, not just the ones we took, obviously, but on so many other guys too. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow, and let's try to continue to make improvements and help our team in whatever way we can. We'll see how all that plays out. So
we'll open up
good
for
there.
questions. Phil Perry is first, followed by Andrew Callahan.
Hey, Bill, obviously last night you guys made the trade down from 14 to 17, and I know you've talked to us in the past when you trade down, you have to sort of be looking at usually a group of players that you'd be comfortable taking wherever you end up. I'm just curious, after taking Keon in the second round, would he have been somebody that you considered as part of that cluster that you might have been interested in when you made that move down in the first round?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it would depend on what happened there. I think we kind of felt okay about a short move, but glad it worked out. Glad we ended up with Christian. I think he's a good player. I'm glad we have him. But good to get Keon and Marte too. So I mean, they're all good players. Guys that have good size for their position, good speed for their position, smart guys. I think they should help us.
Any surprise that Keon was there, Bill? I know he was, for whatever this is worth, I know he was invited to the draft. There's not that many guys that get invited to the first round night. Were you expecting him to be gone after the first night?
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever all the pre-draft hype is and speculation is as usual, pretty far off. Nobody can predict how it's going to go. So, like, you just have to take it as it comes and, try to make the best decision you can when you get near or at the decision-making point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next question, Andrew Callahan, followed by Mike Reese.
Bill, you mentioned Marte's diversity of experience and versatility there. What role do you see him filling, at least as a rookie, here in your defense?
Yeah, hard to say. We'll have to see how it goes. That might change from week to week depending on our opponent and what we're playing in the defense and so forth. But he's shown versatility in his skill set. He's a smart kid. Definitely understands defensive concepts and what they did and how they were doing it. And so when we get a chance to work with him, we'll start to figure that out.
Is he a player, at least from the information you have now, you feel like could add weight onto his frame?
Yeah, again, we'll see how all that goes. I don't know. I mean, he has a good frame, but optimally, you want a player who's has good strength, good explosiveness, and can move well. So whatever that number is, and however that fits a particular player's body type. You say the same thing about Keon and Christian too. Those guys have both good frames too, but I don't know. We'll just have to see until we start working with them. I don't know if I can really answer that question.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Next question, Mike Reese, followed by Michael Hurley.
Hey, Bill, through the 3 picks, all on defense, I'm curious how much was the board just tilted towards defense entering today?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was. I wouldn't say it was tilted at all. Just worked out that way.
And how would you describe the trade market? Like, was there much interest in you had a lot of chips tomorrow with the 4-4s and the 4-6s.
I mean, there was a lot of activity in these 3 rounds, period, throughout the course of it. So whether that'll continue or not, I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, we were only involved in one trade, but there was a lot of movement. Throughout the course of the draft, just kind of keeping up with it, and who was where, and people jumping in front or pulling out in front, and having to kind of readjust your thinking a little bit. So yeah, it was a lot of activity today. I don't know whether that. We'll see if that continues tomorrow or not.
Michael Hurley, followed by Dakota Randall.
Hi, Bill. Kind of similar to what Mike asked, but when you have a couple defensive picks in a row, does it enter your thought process when making, say, the second or third pick on one side of the ball versus would you ever say, well, we have to go offense here because we already picked a couple defensive players?
Yeah, I think you always try to do what's best for your team. There are a lot of different ways to build a team. This is one part of it. Free agency was part of it. Didn't sign a lot of defensive players in free agency. I mean, signed Board. I mean, he's kind of a combination defense, special teams player. Most of the signings were on offense with Juju, Mike, Riley, Anderson. So you could say the same thing about free agency. Maybe we should have signed more players in free agency. I don't know, but just kind of worked out that way. Sometimes it's balanced, sometimes it isn't. But I mean, in the end, we'll field the best team we can to be competitive this year, and where they come from, I don't know, trades, free agency, draft, undrafted, waiver wire. I mean, we'll just have to see how that all plays out.
Thanks.
Yep.
Dakota Randall, followed by Greg Bedard.
Hey, Bill, Marte Mapu, aside from the versatility, what else stood out to you with him on film, and how important was the time that the coaches got to spend with him at the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, all the time we spent with him was good. The visit we had was good. We spent a lot of time with him. It was a Saturday morning in March. He kind of worked it into his schedule. He had a lot of visits, and we were able to work that in. I mean, it's smaller school, so not a lot of exposure at Sac State, but spent time with him at the All-Star game, spent time with him in personal visits. So, yeah, there's a lot. The exposures are the exposures. It's sort of like different, but, kind of like with Duggar, Lenore Ryan, Senior Bowl visit. So, sometimes that's where those guys, that's how you got to do it.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll cap this at 4 final questions here. We're going to go Greg Bedard, followed by Zach Cox.
Hey, Bill, excuse the question, but I'm going to assume that we're not getting you tomorrow after the draft from what we've been told. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to, if you wanted to clarify sort of your feelings about Mac Jones. There have been some well-published reports that you were shopping him that, weren't refuted by anyone from the Patriots. And also, Cam Newton, when he started in 2020, you declared him your quarterback. After you drafted Mac Jones, you declared him your quarterback at the league meetings. You didn't even mention Mac by name. I'm just wondering if, how do you feel about Mac? Is he your quarterback right now? How do you view him going into year 3?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to respond to the anonymous quotes, Greg, so.
So, I mean, would you like to? Is Mac your quarterback as of right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, Mac. Mac's been our quarterback for 2 years, and as I tell the team every year, each player, each coach, we all have to reestablish and prove ourselves every year. That's what this league is. So that's for all of us. 2023 is 23 is 23. We'll see how 23 goes.
You were very complimentary of him going into last season in the last training camp.
I'm
do you
still
still view him the same way?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Next question, Zach Cox, followed by Phil Perry.
Hey, Bill, just with Marte coming off the surgery, I believe 2 months ago, do you expect him to be ready in time for training camp, or is that going to be a bit of a longer recovery?
We'll know a little bit more when he gets in here and starts working. We've had other players that Marcus Jones last year, for example, that wasn't able to do everything, but was able, was ready to participate in training camp, and whether he's on that schedule, ahead of that schedule, I don't know, probably somewhere in that neighborhood. But we'll spend more time with him when he gets here, and when he's healthy and ready to go, then we'll start to put him into the mainstream of our training, and then eventually put him on the field. But he has to get healthy first, and we know we're not quite there yet, but hopefully that'll clear up.
And last two questions, Phil Perry and Andrew Callahan. Phil, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Bill, obviously, as you mentioned, no trades today. Was that just the way the board fell for you guys, or was there some effort expended on your part to try to make a deal, and nothing was able to come to fruition in terms of maybe moving up? It just looks like you guys have so many picks tomorrow. I don't know if that was the plan coming into the day.
Yeah, I think each pick's its own pick, and after you pick a player, then you look at what the situation is and evaluate it from there. And sometimes there are opportunities to move, sometimes there aren't. Sometimes you want to move, sometimes you don't. It just, if you're trying to trade, you have to have somebody to trade with, whether that's up or down. And so, Elliot and Matt, they pretty much dealt with that. I mean, we talked about some things, but I mean, ultimately we did what we did. We felt was best for the team.
And last question, Andrew Callahan.
Hey, Bill, Keon mentioned that he had zero contact with the team during the pre-draft process. Specific to his case, what's the benefit, if that's true, first of all, of treating a prospect you have interest in like that, taking that approach?
Yeah, well, his pro day was, we were at his pro day, but he wasn't able to do much. He kind of pulled up on I think it was the second 40. Then he had another pro day, which, we had film of everything that he did and saw him at the combine and all that. So, we've had interaction with him. I think, when you get so many scouts like the college players do, it's hard to keep track of them all. But, we had plenty of action, and, Coach Collins and, his staff down there. We had all familiarity with the tech staff as well. So maybe we know him better than he knows us, but we'll get to know each other soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.